my whole journey with the Ultimate Fighter has been pretty crazy to think about. Katie and I, we moved to Dublin November of 2017, and it's almost been a year. But what we've done in less than a year is pretty crazy. About a month after we arrived, Ultimate Fighter trials came up. I went through that journey, and it just produced an opportunity that you can't really refuse. And thankfully, coming off the show, preparing for the finale for the first time, being at a world-class gym here at SBG, and doing a professional camp, a truly professional camp. Not just playing around, not just doing your own conditioning. I had my conditioning taken care of with the McGregor Fast program. I had the best training partners I could ask for here at SBG, and I had a world-class coach watching over my training. So everything was structured to, the camp would have changed very, very little if we were fighting for a title. I was a professional camp, and what came out of it was the best performance of my life, and it just set me up and set Katie and I up for a future here and the rest of our careers. I think a lot of people get lost in thinking of MMA as strictly competition. If what the acronym stands for is mixed martial arts. It's a martial art, and I think, especially when people first try jiu-jitsu, they get humbled pretty quickly. They realize all this muscle, all this size that I have isn't one helping me that much, and it's not necessary. There's a technique, and there's a beauty in martial arts, and if we take it to the level I'm at, I'm just competing in it. It's, at the end of the day, it's a competition, and if you approach it, as a sport, it's a rough sport, but there's many rough sports out there. It's a competition, and what's driving me to win isn't to hurt the other person. It's to show my techniques, and my training was superior, and there's egos that go around, but at the end of the day, what motivates me is winning, and that's what that's the competition side, but also become the best version of myself possible, and that's the martial arts side. I think MMA training it does boost one's, or can at least, and often boost one's self-confidence. First off, you're humbled pretty quick, and that usually checks your ego, and then you build relationships and training, and realize you're not quite as tough as you thought you were, and it shows you a different side of humanity that people don't really see. If you're tapping out to a choke, that person could hold it and put you to sleep or cause serious physical harm, but there is a forgiveness, and that's where the ego checking comes in, where you're tapping out, you're saying, you got me, and at least you got me this time, and it allows you to walk more confidently, knowing your skills, but also being able to reflect on other people, and you can have some really nice people in the gym, and they're not the best partners, and you have some people who you wouldn't think would be great partners. So it shows you a different side of everybody, and it just shows you a different side of humanity, I think. Right now in my training, there's a different intensity that comes with it. If I'm looking at myself now, this is my living. I'm a professional athlete, which is pretty crazy to think about. So, everything I do needs to have a purpose. And, right now I'm in training camp, so there's an underlying intensity in almost everything you're going to do. It's done with a little bit more intent. Outside of camp, it's important to also shift down a couple gears and not be quite as switched on, and riding that balance of being switched on at the right times and then switched off at the right times as well. So it's definitely a balance, but right now there's that extra intensity. Call it hunger, call it anything, but your body's preparing for competition, and it's the fighting game, so it's an intense 15 minutes of competition.
Hey, teach little kids now.
Here at SBG, everything's different. First off, it takes me out of my comfort zone. If I'm back home with the training partners I've been training with for 10 years or so, coming here, it's just mixing it up, which I think is important. It's nice getting a fresh cycle of training partners now and then, be it visitors in the gym or visiting another gym for a short period of time, just to get a different look, see how other people are doing it. But here the biggest difference is just it's a professional gym. I'm training with a team of hungry athletes, and that's, it's contagious. Some days you'll come in the gym not as motivated as you should be, but everybody's, it's kind of hive mind. Everybody's switched on for the sessions, and that's the big difference. There's a lot of gyms where they're casual gyms, and we do have a lot of casual people here who train, but there's a different kind of hunger you get in the team sessions where you're just in amongst a bunch of killers. My next fight is December 8th in Toronto. Super excited to be fighting back in Canada. It'll be different. It'll be in the UFC, and it's my first fight coming off the Ultimate Fighter, so I'm definitely excited to show what I'm capable of. The travel over, just because of time difference, I'll probably go home a little bit early, see my family, and at that point training's done. Around 2 weeks out, that's where the taper starts. So you want to be getting comfortable at that point. I find I'll fly over to Toronto on the Monday or the Tuesday of fight week, and from there it's just focusing on the fight, and part of that for me is relaxing when I can, completely disengaging, because come fight time, I've been doing this long enough that my body's going to cue in, my mind's going to cue in, everything's going to cue in on fight day. So stressing out all week, pacing around isn't going to help. The best thing to do is relax. So that's what I'm going to be doing for my 2 weeks of taper, and it's going to be a little bit of training just to keep the body fresh, but besides that, it's just going to be mentally just decompress. For the show, just because of the opportunity, they were only taking undefeated fighters from featherweight and lightweight, so my natural weight would be a featherweight, 145 pounds or 66 kilos, but nobody fights at their natural weight. They always drop down a weight class from there, so what I competed at almost my entire career has been bantamweight, 135 pounds, and I'm returning there, thankfully. A lot of fighters, they diet extremely hard, and then they do a water cut to make weight, and my diet down to featherweight wasn't even that hard in order to make it. So I'm happy to be back at bantamweight. That's where I feel optimal, and that's why I want to make a run for the title. So flopping around weight classes isn't something I want to be doing. I have a sole focus of fighting for that title one day, so I want to start working on that, and first fight in the UFC is getting down to that weight. My journey in the UFC is with the mindset of capturing that bantamweight title, and that's what I want. If we're looking at this is the first step, this is the first fight, logically looking at it, it's going to take a number of fights before I take that title, and barring injuries and making sure everything's going well, in 3 years, that's kind of my target date. In that time, I want to be I'll be developing my game through it, and you know, the game will be changing as well, and that's why I'm here at SBG, to stay ahead of that curve. 3 years is I want that title. You know, I'm really looking forward to competing in front of all of the Canadian fans and all the support I've gotten so far from them. December 8th at UFC 231, and really showing the first step towards capturing that title. You know, now I gotta get the smile off my face. Yeah, if we can redo that.